All right, shame on you. If you had the other networks on tonight, well, you might have missed this.
I saw this as a psychotically incoherent speech with cookies and dog poop.
It was so Trump. Pretty strong right-wing stuff.
This speech was gaslighting the American people. It was a divisive speech, low energy. It was not well delivered.
Back with me, Matt Schlapp, Byron York. Also joining us is Horace Cooper, co-chair of Project 21. Horace, Van Jones, who I just praised last week for actually putting, even though he said the most horrific things about yours truly, I praised him for actually putting politics aside on criminal justice reform last week. Well, I think he must have gotten too much, heat for that because I was praising him. So tonight he says, well, it's basically dog, you know what, the speech. That's classy, Van. Nice going.
I actually don't know what speech he watched. I mean, it's remarkable. One, he got a chance to work with this president, and they did a lot when it came to criminal justice reform. But tonight's speech was probably one of the best speeches the president has delivered.
Well, delivered and positive, optimistic. I mean, he got some digs in, Byron, but I think the Democrats, you see those clips there, it was poorly delivered. They're really grasping for something to criticize, and I don't know. I'm really trying to look at it objectively. Again, I thought the speech could have been edited, and it was a little long for me, but I always say that. But people seem to love it. They're like, this is so much better than the Super Bowl, and this is my Super Bowl. You see the stuff on social media. And those polls that I cited earlier, again, they're instant polls for only the people who watched. That's true. But they're overwhelmingly positive.
Well, a couple of things. If you watch CNN and MSNBC a lot, their reaction to it is entirely consistent with the way they talk about Trump every single day. And as far as Democrats are concerned, look, a lot of people came into this speech prepared to hate it. And it's hard to change gears if in the middle of a speech that's 80+ minutes long, it was too long, you're right, it's hard to change gears and say, actually, he's saying some pretty good stuff. Maybe in the next day or two, and it takes a while for these things to sink in, we'll see a little more balanced commentary.
Never. This was Anderson Cooper, Matt Schlapp, after Stacey Abrams wrapped her response. Let's watch.
The Democratic response being given by Stacey Abrams, a former gubernatorial candidate in the state of Georgia. I like that one better.
That's the best response, Democrat or Republican, I can remember in some years.
Wow. Well, I did watch that speech. It's a little snoozy. Look, it's hard because you're not speaking to an electric room. They had the rather wooden, panel of people behind her, which were expressionless. Why do Democrats think it's good to have a zombie-like appearance on your face at these speeches? You had Chuck and Nancy who were just looking straight at the camera, these people behind her. So I thought that was a little odd. On the Trump piece, though, Laura, I actually want to disagree. I actually think it's good he went long, because most people believe that with a speech from a teleprompter that he's impatient and want to cut it all back. If I think about the speech, and I've gone through it a couple times, he really needed to say almost all of that. Now, you can quibble with the words and everything else, but those themes were critical. And the other thing is this is a big, big moment for the president. It's a big moment for him to try to once and for all in the final part of his term capture people that aren't in his base. I think this speech gives him a chance to do that.
And Horace, my goodness, the personal stories tonight. I mean, I got teared up like 3 or 4 times, and the Holocaust survivors, the story at the very end, which I think it was the most beautiful moment I'd seen in a State of the Union, a Dachau liberator and someone who survived Dachau, sitting side by side. And think of the lives they led and the things they've seen. And then you think of the pettiness today in Washington, the pettiness of politics, and we're all kind of guilty of it, and what they went through for freedom.
When you see CBS reporting nearly 80% of Americans who watched this speech thought it was amazing, thought it was remarkable, what you could see and what I could see, this is a man who loves this country. And his infectious love of this country allowed him to weave a narrative using the lives of real Americans. This was quite Reagan-esque in how he was able to build this narrative, and that's something that you can't do without a genuine affection for your country.
You know, Byron, it's interesting that Horace mentioned that, because another theme that I kept hearing and seeing on social media is you can see the president believes this. These aren't just words on a teleprompter.
Well,
every president gets help with a speech, by the way, so I don't want to hear he didn't write it. Every president gets help, but these are his issues. NATO, pay your fair share. Everyone deserves a second chance. Get government out of the way. Enforce the borders. I mean, these are kind of basic things, but he owned the words because this is what he's always believed in for the most part.
He does believe those things. And when you talk about, when you're trying to bring Americans together, you talk about the great things that America did. And he did something tonight which we're not going to be able to do that much longer. He said, you know, in the room with us tonight, we have 2 men who stormed the beaches on Normandy. You're not going to be able to say that much longer. And he made really great use of that, and the Republicans I talked to tonight thought that he had made better use of the people in the balcony than any other State of the Union they had seen.
We have Nancy Pelosi's first on-tape reaction. It's going to be a doozy. Let's watch.
When he acknowledged that it was the largest number of women, he forgot to acknowledge that there are only 15 Republicans and 91 Democratic women in the Congress of the United States. It was like weird you're bringing this up, and look.
That's it?
Yeah.
Is that the best you got, San Francisco, really? That's it?
Yeah,
that's why it was a nice moment. You think Trump doesn't know that they're mostly Democrats?
Right.
He was actually doing what they claim they want him to do. Bipartisan acknowledgement. Good for you. You guys are here. It's the anniversary of women's suffrage.
Yeah.
I thought that was a brilliant moment in the speech, and she knows it. She knows it's brilliant. That's why she has to kind of, in that little snitty way.
And I know it's in the House chamber. We added several really great conservative women to the GOP majority in the Senate, and that does get dominated by the big pickups by the Dems in the House. But this 53-seat majority in the Senate is a big deal as we move to fill more judge openings, as they try to get this nominations backlog. So if you ask me the bargain, which one would I like, a little bigger conservative majority in the Senate or losing the House? I would have liked both, but I'm okay with how it came out.
We're out of time. Elizabeth Warren's new controversy kind of snuck in today.
Yes, it did.
Nice
Smart,
timing.
Yeah.
She did state Native American heritage in her Texas bar application after having said she didn't really use it to get ahead. Now, you can argue that you're getting ahead in the bar application, but nevertheless, is this going to hurt her, Horace?
She's not really going to make it. She's not going to be able to go forward. This problem is crippling her.
Again.
She can't seem to shake this thing. I mean, she makes mistakes on her own with the DNA testing, and then
that was
talked
awful.
about this earlier thing.
Toast.
As well.
Toast. I think one word. Toast. She sunk herself. I don't see much of a future there. Panel, thank you so much. Fantastic analysis tonight. Next.